This summer has been one dominated by some heavy hitters being moved around via trade and through free agency, and when that's the case, the big dogs are always going to be the ones that get the most coverage in the media. Conversations and debates amongst fans always gravitate toward the biggest of names, but every offseason, we see teams put together pretty strong periods that fly under the radar because none of the moves they made were that flashy or eye-popping. That's exactly what we're here to discuss in today's video, as we will be going through 5 teams that sneakily had pretty incredible off-seasons, being ones that are set to notably improve next season, but haven't gotten nearly as much attention as they deserve for it. Before we start though, it turns out a good amount of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but I'd also very much appreciate it. Now with that being said, let's begin. The first team we'll be discussing today that has had a sneakily incredible offseason so far is the Orlando Magic. The Magic have been a young team on the rise over the last 2 seasons, building a strong defensive identity that has been at the core of their success making the playoffs both years, but the offensive side of the ball has been a different story. Orlando is a group led by Paolo Banchero, who has an elite offensive repertoire and has proven he can be a go-to guy for a playoff team. Then Franz Wagner is next to him, serving as a high-end borderline all-star caliber slasher and secondary playmaker, and the two of them do a lot of the heavy lifting. Outside of that though, there's a lot left to be desired, as the team has been the worst ranked offense of the teams that have made the playoffs in each of the last 2 years. They were the worst 3-point shooting team in the league last year, and they were also ranked near the bottom of the league in assists. The Magic, thankfully, were not oblivious to these glaring shortcomings and addressed them head on. Starting the summer off, they traded for Desmond Bane from the Grizzlies, who you would think would be a big flashy acquisition dominating headlines, but it has seemingly fallen by the wayside quickly out of the public eye. Bane is one of the league's best sharpshooters, who over the last few seasons has developed into way more than being just a shooter. He's filled in more as a ball handler and playmaker, coming off of a season where he put up a career high in assists per game. He's now a borderline all-star in his own right, and he'll supply the much needed spacing that this team needs. That's not all though, because the point guard position for the Magic has also been severely lacking in true playmakers, with Jalen Suggs being more of a defense-first guy, so for them to bring in Tyus Jones as a depth piece is a match made in heaven. Jones is a pass-first, floor general type of point guard who plays selflessly and efficiently. When he gets his threes up, he hits them at a 41% clip too, helping improve the Magic's shooting struggles, and he also had the second best assist-to-turnover ratio in the entire NBA last season, so when the offense needs to be jump-started, he'll sub in and make a meaningful impact for them. Then, with them having drafted Jace Richardson with the 25th pick in the draft, they also got someone who arguably had lottery talent and could prove to be an absolute steal, as a player who flourished in Summer League as a shot creator and playmaker with natural creativity on the ball and a knack for getting good looks off. So with more firepower on the offensive end, the Magic could have the makings of a real title contender now. The next team that has had a sneakily incredible offseason so far is the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs offseason began to heat up when the draft lottery awarded them the number 2 pick in the draft. A little over 1 year ago, the Spurs had a real point guard crisis, with nobody capably feeding Victor Wembanyama consistently during his rookie year, and now in the present, they have an abundance of riches at point guard, with all-star De'Aaron Fox holding down the starting spot, Rookie of the Year winner Stephon Castle developing next to him, and now Dylan Harper waiting in the wings behind them, coming in as a rookie with real all-star upside down the line. Maximizing Victor Wembanyama is at the forefront of everything the Spurs are doing now, because as long as he's healthy, he's ready to make a serious difference on the biggest stage, and with 3 quality point guards to cycle through, he could level up even further offensively this year. The Spurs were also able to add Carter Bryant in the lottery lottery of the draft who isn't going to be a flashy player scoring a ton or dominating the ball, but from day one he is going to be an absolute lockdown defender on the perimeter, and if he's locking up the opposing team's best player on the outside, while Victor Wembanyama patrols the paint and leads the NBA in blocks with ease again, this is going to be a really tough team to score on. Speaking of which, the Spurs also went out and found a very strong insurance policy to be Victor Wembanyama's backup at center by signing Luke Kornet away from the Celtics, who was one of the best defensive backup centers in the entire NBA. Kornet just ranked 5th in the whole league in defended field goal percentage at the rim. He finishes everything he gets on around the rim on offense, and he's an outstanding screen setter, so overall, the Spurs have more quality depth throughout the rotation and should get a first taste of playoff basketball together as a unit if everything goes right. The next team that has had a sneakily great offseason so far is the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets have been hoping to take the leap that teams like the Rockets and Magic have taken over the last few years, but every time they end up floundering down to the bottom of the standings again, finishing in disappointment. They've been a team lacking in leadership, discipline, and culture, and things are at risk of getting disastrous if they don't turn things around soon. But based on what they've done this summer, they're at the very least acknowledging these problems and trying to improve them. In the draft, they opted to take Con Knippel 4th overall, which may be a questionable decision in the eyes of some, but what it tells me is that they are focusing on finding smart decision makers and actually productive basketball players that know how to impact winning games, and Knippel's sharpshooting, underrated passing talent, body control, and basketball IQ will help piece things together in their lineup. They also added Liam McNeely at the end of the first round in the draft to continue to help address their subpar shooting numbers. Then, with LaMelo Ball struggling to stay healthy year in and year out, the Hornets went out and acquired experienced backcourt depth by way of trading for Colin Sexton and signing Spencer Dinwiddie. Sexton fell out of the public eye a bit when he was playing on the lowly Jazz teams, but he has consistently been one of the most efficient volume scorers in the game, and with his tenacity and non-stop motor, he's not going to accept lackluster effort from those around him anymore, so he is going to help change this culture. He could legitimately be the favorite to win the 6th Man of the Year this season, and that kind of depth is needed on a team like this. The Hornets also traded for Pat Connaughton, who comes in as an NBA champion from the Bucks with the pedigree of competing at the highest level to help establish a better winning culture too. The center position does admittedly still remain a problem for the Hornets, but with the moves they did make, there's now a clear picture being drawn with better leadership, depth, and culture being established. The next team that has had a sneakily great offseason so far is the Memphis Grizzlies. I mentioned earlier that Desmond Bane was acquired by the Orlando Magic as a great fit for what they needed, but the Grizzlies also came away from that exchange pretty happy. The main player they got back in that deal is Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who, yes, is obviously a downgrade coming off of a pretty down year for himself, but on top of that, they also got 4 first-round picks from Orlando, which is the kind of price that teams pay for established high-end stars. Desmond Bane is a great player in his own right, but he has never been an all-star, and in Orlando, he's going to be their 3rd option just like he was in Memphis. 4 first-round picks is an incredible haul, so being able to sell Bane at peak value when it became clear that the trio of him, Ja Morant, and Jaren Jackson Jr. hit their ceiling together is outstanding business. Plus, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope may be coming off of a down year, but throughout his entire career he's proven to be a high-end 3-and-D wing as long as he has playmaking around him, and Ja Morant is a better playmaker than anything that Orlando had last season. Then after that, the Grizzlies also landed one of the best budget signings in free agency, signing Ty Jerome away from Cleveland to a contract worth just $8 million for the year. Jerome was one of the leading candidates in the 6th Man of the Year race as one of the most efficient perimeter scorers in the whole league, scoring 13 points off the bench, going 52% from the field and 44% from 3, and every time he got a chance to fill in for a starter, for whatever reason, whether it be injuries or anything else, he was good for an easy 20 points that night. His stock took a hit in the playoffs against Indiana, where he slumped at the worst possible time, but he's still one of the best backup point guards in the game, which is critical being behind Ja Morant, who has been known to suffer injuries here and there. And finally, the last team we'll be discussing that has had a sneakily great offseason is the New York Knicks. The Knicks are coming off of their first conference finals run in 25 years, and clearly want to keep building on that momentum. Last summer, they got aggressive and put together one of the strongest starting lineups in the league when they brought in Karl-Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges, but they did so at the expense of their depth, and their weak bench ended up being a problem in the end. Their starters were burnt out and run into the ground, and Indiana's strength in numbers sent them home. By signing Gershon Yabusele away from the 76ers in free agency this summer, they get a strong, versatile power forward that can play some small ball center and fit in seamlessly next to Karl-Anthony Towns in a lineup capably covering for his weaknesses. Towns has never been the strongest defender, but Yabusele is a very good defensive talent that battles well with big men and can guard any front court position. He also serves as a stretch big on offense with some powerful explosiveness around the rim, as he hits 38% of his threes and 50% of his shots from the field overall. Then they also signed Jordan Clarkson away from the Jazz, who has made a long career out of being one of the league's best bench scorers, and while he is admittedly starting to regress, especially on the defensive end, he's still an upgrade over what the Knicks had as an option to score off the bench last year, so having a capable shot creator is a big plus for them. Then they were also able to extend Mikal Bridges' contract for 4 more years, locking him in for the long run, so their core is set with a more well-rounded rotation ready to bounce back in a big way this upcoming season. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think about the moves these teams have made this summer. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.